good afternoon, and welcome to Hillian's Talk. We're live from the Home Core Carpets Community Stadium here in Burgess Hill, and today we're very excited to have a town legend with us, Martyn Box.
Good afternoon.
We also have my co-presenter, Jack Naldrick, and we've also got Lyndon here, who's on tech.
Afternoon. Without
him, none of this would happen. So we're very excited to have this team together today. Martyn, welcome to the podcast.
I'm happy to be here.
It's really nice to have you here. We've been really looking forward to this one. Jack is going to lead off with some questions about the just more recent past when we had the playoffs, both here in Mid Sussex and then when we went to Sittingbourne. And I've got some questions to ask you about you being a local boy. You are Burgess Hill through and through.
Yeah, I'm indeed.
And your dad's given me a list of things which I just wanted to touch on. Needless to say, he's very proud of you. So we'll kick off with Jack. Talk about the playoffs, Jack.
Okay, well, it is my favourite subject to talk about, so it's a good thing that I get to lead this. I suppose as well, just thinking about all the players that we could have on in terms of the semi-final, in terms of the final. You're pretty involved in both games, weren't you? Really, goal in the semi-final.
Yeah. Semi-final for me was probably the better one.
Yeah.
Don't think we talk about shots on target in the final.
No, we're going to talk.
Oh, we will.
How long did that take? 30 seconds to get in?
Absolutely. And, just in terms of the semi-final first, before we will come on to the playoff final, I'm sure. Huge crowd that come in from Margate, really, really big crowd. The biggest that you've played in front of here, the biggest that we've seen here. And then in terms of, about half an hour in, you opening the scoring, just talk us through, I suppose, that moment, and then I suppose the whole game as, overall.
Yeah, I mean the game for me in the moment, it was sort of a bit of a blink your eyes moment, and it's gone. I think the build up around the whole event as such was superb. The things the club done on the day and leading up to the game to make sure the place was prepared for it was superb, and all the work the volunteers done to make sure everything worked as it should have. It was absolutely perfect. So just to start with that, set us up nicely then to go on the pitch and sort of deliver what we did. Regarding the goal, don't even I can really remember it, to be honest. I think I just hit the ball when I struck it. I knew I'd hit it quite nicely, and then went past. Well, I think it hit the defender and then hit the back of the net, and that was that. And then I didn't know what to do. But no, it was delightful to score, and I'm just glad the night was as good as it was.
Yeah, and fair to say, probably the favourite goal you've scored in your short career so far.
Yeah, 100%. It's definitely the biggest goal I've scored as well.
Yeah, good. And then, obviously, coming into that, obviously Margate, a huge club in this league, obviously come down recently from the Premier. And obviously this is our sort of, or was our first time, in the playoffs, it was all quite new to us. And then to beat them, in the end, with all due respect, it was quite, dominant performance in the end. They didn't really, defensively, and especially in the second half, we were really, really strong. And then obviously we head to the playoff final, and then probably again, we're, slight underdogs maybe, going there and against a team who are, so strong at home. We've spoken about it on previous podcasts, but the performance, in the 90 minutes, then in extra time, was, deserving of Burgess Hill winning that final. Is that sort of how you felt as well, actually being on the pitch and playing in it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think Gary mentioned it when he was on previously about the first 45 minutes of that final. We certainly weren't ourselves, and you could feel that on the pitch. It was like, what is going on? And then we were sat in there at half time, and Gaz said what he said, and I think we all then sat there, and that's when we realised that you know what, we can give this a right good go, and if we give this a good go, we can get the win, which, like you just said a minute ago, the second half performance especially, and throughout extra time, I don't think we deserved anything less but to win the game. I would even go as far to say we deserved to win it in the 90 minutes, even after going 1-0 down. They still had their chances, but I think we dominated that second half especially, and just glad we got it done.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that, when, because let's be honest, sort of first half they were, it started off very, very strongly, obviously got the goal, and for sort of small periods of that first half, that we were sort of, hanging on a little bit, crosses and corners and stuff. What's it like actually, obviously, being on the pitch, like you say, you could sort of feel that it wasn't going, as well as it, expecting to, perhaps first half. Is it sort of thing where we were sort of hanging on a bit till half time? Do you think that, was it quite, the sort of feeling in the halftime. I know you said Gary was very calm and was said some good things, but with the players themselves, did they sort of do much talking, or was it all just, did everyone sort of feel the same thing?
I think the biggest thing, everyone just took a big breath, to be honest. It was such a big occasion for everyone. And like you said, it's the first time we've been there recently. And it was such a big day for everyone. So everyone got in at half-time, took a massive deep breath, and I think that's what just reset us. And then as soon as we crossed the lines, we got out for the second half, and as soon as we started playing, I think everyone just knew what was going to happen and what we were going to bring. And we thankfully carried that on throughout the whole of the second half. And yeah, it just turned out into a good night. Yeah,
absolutely. And just in terms of sort of moving on through the game, like you said, I would agree that I thought we probably could and maybe should have won it in 90 minutes, and then obviously extra time I thought we were slightly stronger as well. But then it goes to penalties, and now when it goes to penalties, I'll be totally honest. I think I said something along the lines of, when I realised it was you stepping up to score what I thought was a winning penalty, I think I said something like, "I'll put my house on it. We're up." And then didn't quite go to plan, did it?
I don't think you're the only person to say that, to be honest. The amount of people I've spoken to sort of all said the same thing. It's funny, actually. We come to half time of extra time, and Jay come up to me when I went over to get a drink. He goes, Box, I think I'm going to have to take you off. He said, you're looking like you're cramping up a little bit and you can't really move. I was like, no, Jay, I'm absolutely fine. I want to take a penalty if it goes there. I'm absolutely fine. Leave me on the pitch. And then when the moment come, it was, I didn't do anything differently. I didn't try anything differently. Went the same way I'd gone the whole season. But it's just one of those moments. And I think I said it in an interview with you, Cobo, a little bit early on the season at Stenning away, that I don't practice penalties. It's not something I'll spend hours doing. For me, it's an in the moment thing. Thing I try and concentrate on is hitting the target, and obviously I didn't do that. So yeah, but no, it's I just wanted to build the excitement up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Make everyone's money's
absolutely,
worth,
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to you, I do think it's the only penalty that I've ever seen you miss. Quite the occasion for you to start doing that, mind you.
I've only ever missed 2 penalties for Burgess Hill, and they've both been at Stenning.
Oh right.
Not Stenning, sorry, at Sittingbourne.
Oh, at Sittingbourne.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So maybe when we go to Sittingbourne again, I won't take a penalty.
No, maybe just slip it to Rowie or someone.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to just temper that moment. I mean, even the world's best players miss penalties at any time, so. And they put all their bloody torches on, didn't they? I don't know if you noticed. Every single fan in that had their... Anyway, even the best players in the world miss penalties, so there's no... And you certainly made up for that for some of the goals that you scored during the season. And I just wanted to point out, bring to your attention a match that Jack and I have discussed on many occasions. Erith away. Now, we've often said that was probably, when you look back, that was a team and a fan and in perfect harmony that night. It was a proper Tuesday night away, wasn't it? There weren't many of us there, and you scored the winner.
Yeah, no, it was a good night actually, and I think it's probably one of the biggest 3 points all season. Like I said, it was a dark night. Wasn't a lot of people there in general, to be honest. No. Obviously, you guys that come along, the noise was great, and we still heard you. And also, I think that was, I was actually thinking about it earlier. I think that was the first goal since coming back from my injury, and that sort of for me was quite a big relief. And I think I released quite a lot of that once the ball went in the back of the net.
You did.
So yeah, for us then to go on and win the game was perfect.
It was a huge night, and just talk us through that goal. I think it came out to you, and then you smashed it across the goalkeeper into the far corner.
Yeah, that's right. I think I was waiting there for about 3 minutes for Popey to set the ball off. I think the ball come in from the right hand side, and then it turned into a bit of a scrap. I think I was just stood there waiting, and then as soon as it come to me, I just put my foot through it, and it went in.
Yeah. We were happy, weren't we, Jack?
We were very happy because about 5 minutes before that, you got absolutely wiped out with what was a horrific tackle, and then it was just a great moment that about 5 minutes later you managed to bounce back up.
Yeah, I think that was also the thing. Again, I was just thinking about it then. Actually, the tackle probably wasn't one of the nicest ones.
No, absolutely
but that
not.
one and the one against Eastbourne here is probably the 2 worst tackles I've ever been involved in. But yeah, it's to then go and score is really good.
Yeah, I mean, getting back to the actual Sittingbourne night, I think you led the chase back to the fans.
I think that was
you're the quickest.
Do you know what? I think that's probably the quickest I ran all season. If we got those stats from the GPS Fest, it's probably the quickest I ran all season. But again, I think that's more of a relief thing. And being a local lad, I know how much it means to a lot of people around here to get get the club promoted, and I had lots of family and lots of friends there, so I ran straight to them. Bless them, they travelled all over the place to come and support this year. So also to be able to do it to them and for them, it was quite a nice thing.
Yeah. I mean, it was a very nice thing for us fans to see you do it as well. I mean, it came and bedlam ensued, didn't it, for the next 20, 30 minutes?
Yeah, it was crazy, and it's their moments we'll never forget as a player, and the club will never forget. And yeah, it's a great evening.
Absolutely. So just one final thing I've sort of remembered as I'm doing this here before we'll sort of lead on to Cobo, move on to sort of more about yourself. But actually, I was just thinking about it at the Sittingbourne game and sort of in general. Now, sort of I know this because I've sort of known you a long time, but you very much know the Sittingbourne keeper Rocco Rees very well, don't you?
Yeah.
He's an old friend of yours from Brighton.
Yeah.
And were you sort of exchanging messages beforehand? Did you sort of speak during the game? Did you drop him a little message after the game, maybe? Or
no, do you know what? I've not spoken to Rocco ever since we played with each other down at Brighton.
Right.
He's a great keeper. He's also a great lad, and he's played in some very big games in his football career, and I'm sure he'll carry on doing well. So I did sort of have that in the back of my mind when I was going up to take the pen as well. But no, I've not spoken to him. I've not spoken to him after. But yeah, no, he's a good lad.
fair enough.
Martyn, we'd like to take you back a few years. You're still a very, very young man compared with most of us probably listening to this particular podcast. Born 2001, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So you very, very much a Burgess Hill born and bred. You've played cricket for Burgess Hill Cricket Club. You've played golf around here. Is it safe to say, I mean, I'm just reading some words that your dad sent to me, that he used to take you to sporting events before you could even walk?
Yeah, no, that's true. Sport's always been running through my family. So yeah, I was up and about before I could walk to go and watch and be involved in sports.
Yeah, he says that you and Ryan played golf from quite an early age. I mean, I think Ryan probably took it a little bit more seriously than you did, and he got down to single figures. I mean, how are you and him on the golf course?
Competitive, everything that we do.
Right.
But no, golf definitely is. Yeah, you'd put your money on him to win golf.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because he says he probably is the better golfer.
Yeah, I'd give that one to him. Yeah.
And then when you come to cricket, he said the same. He said he thought he was the better cricketer, but he did actually remind me of a game that you played. I think it was for Burgess Hill away somewhere. He scored about 100 runs, and you scored 50 not out to win the game. Do you remember that one?
That could have happened.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember
Right.
if it did, but if Dad's saying it did, then
No,
then,
actually,
must have
Ryan said that.
Oh, that could have been. Yeah, no, I might vaguely remember, but
I mean, he says it was a good day for you guys.
yeah, I'm sure it was.
And then growing up, you had a very early opportunity at Brighton, didn't you? How did that all come about and work?
Yeah, so it was pretty strange for me actually. So I spent my whole grassroots football at Brighton. I'd done when I must have been under sevens. I was training with Ryan at Mile Place with his team, and they're 4 or 5 years above. So I was training. I was running around with them, kicking footballs, and then
Got a nice photo here of
Oh wow!
Martyn in a
yeah,
Mile Place kit. I
we
think
don't
that
want to
is.
look at that one again.
He's in blue and yellow, people.
There are a few photos that accompany this podcast. For those listening, if you look at the YouTube version of this podcast, we will put the photos in there.
Oh.
Just to embarrass Martyn a little bit further.
Truly Burgess Hill through and through.
Don't want to see that.
There's a young lad kicking a football. He must be about 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah, so
4 years old in this photo.
there
you go.
So yeah, I started down Mile Place, and then one of my friends' dads set up a team called Seagulls. Went and trained with them. I think I played for them under 8s, and then we were at a football tournament down in, I want to say, Hurstbit Point.
Right.
And then I got invited along to, I think what it was called the Centre of Excellence at the time. It was the trial game up at Northampton. And then yeah, for me, my journey at Brighton all kicked off from there. So yeah.
So what was it like being a real youngster in that academy environment at Brighton?
Yeah, I mean, for me, because I didn't really know anything else. So for me, it was sort of the norm. I was just a young lad going in, playing football and doing what I loved doing. I don't think, didn't matter where I done it. I think the main thing for me is that I was just playing football. But it was a great environment to be around. Training and stuff was superb. But yeah, like I said, it's just for me, it was all about just playing.
Okay, and then you went to Barnet. They took you on as a professional, and you got loaned out to a couple of clubs as well during that period. Was that a good period for you?
Yeah, I love my time at Barnet. It's something I'll always remember. I loved it. It was tough. It was very, very tough. But yeah, going out on loan was a good experience, especially because I was so young. When I think I was 16 or 17 when I won my first loan spell.
Who was that for?
The first team was Berkhamsted.
Berkhamsted, yeah.
Which was a bit of a trek, driving 2.5 hours for a home game. Some away games were closer, I think. But that was a great experience for me, and that was my first taste of men's football. And I had a great time there, and absolutely loved it. And I think they got promoted this year as well. So I think they won their playoff final. So I've been keeping an eye on them.
Good.
But that's where I went first. Then I went back to Barnet for a little bit. And I think the next one was Lewis. Then went down to Lewis. Absolutely, really, really enjoyed it at Lewis. It was a great club. It was great people. That unfortunately got cut short. Shockers, it was an injury. I cracked my head open during a training session.
Oh no!
Just after I'd extended my loan, so that cut that one short. Right. And then I think my next one after that then was down here.
Exactly, and then we know the rest.
Yeah,
because we've probably seen you virtually every game since.
Yeah.
Your dad says there was one particular night when you went midweek to Lowestoft, and he said he didn't get home till very, very late. I don't know if you remember that one.
No, yeah, I do remember that. We turned up. That was at Berkhamsted. Dad drove me up. We left at a silly hour in the afternoon to get up there. We arrived. We had near enough. Whole of our team were late. We didn't have a coach. Everyone was driving themselves. The whole of the team was late. The manager didn't turn up till late. Half of us were warming up while everyone else was still turning up. I can't remember the score of the game.
No.
I can't remember how the game turned out. But yeah, we then did not get back until very, very early in the morning.
Wow, that's probably giving you a good grounding, that one, for midweek games in the Premier League.
Yeah, it has indeed.
I wanted to sort of like talk about you as a Burgess Hill boy. Did you go to the academy?
Yeah, so I started, my primary school was Manorfield, just up the road from here, which I believe is now changed name.
Has it?
I think it's now gone into an academy.
Wow.
And then I went off to the Burgess Hill Academy after that, or Oakmeads as it was as previously known.
Yeah, and how did you get on there? You enjoyed it?
Yeah, absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed going to school. I was never someone that didn't like going to school. And when I was still at Brighton, when I was going to the academy, we had day release, so I didn't go to school every day. For my year, I think it was year 10, it was a Wednesday I had out of school, and then year 9 was a Wednesday out of school. Year 10 was Tuesday and Thursday out of school. But I really enjoyed going to school.
Excellent. And did you go on to any further education afterwards? How did that go for you?
Yeah, so when I went up to Barnet, I initially got signed on a scholarship.
Right.
So I'd done my BTEC sport up there and a diploma in sport up there, and in coaching. So that's then sort of where I carried on my education, and then it was 6 weeks into my scholarship that they offered me my pro, but obviously started to do my education alongside it.
Yeah, I mean, 20 young lads out there. Would you say that education is still very key for even professional footballers to get that education ahead of football, or is it hand in hand?
No, definitely. I think education's is super important, because football's not a foregone conclusion. 1 month you could be thinking you're on top of the world with it, and the next month it could all change, and that could be because of circumstances that are out of your control. So it's always important to have the education side of it behind you as well, just so you've got things to fall back on.
That's very good advice. So we've obviously got a whole new load of young fans coming through the door here at Burgess Hill Town. We've seen that grow and grow and grow. Do you have any advice to them as to how they can make it in football?
I think you can. The biggest thing I'd say is you can never do too much. So little and often is also quite good. So if you've got a ball out in the garden for 10 minutes a day and you're just trying to, as simple as beating your keep uppy score, just little things like that will help you. Regarding if you're playing for a team and you're at those training sessions, it's trying to still, while also training with a team, is thinking how you can get the most out of the session for yourself. So if you're doing a drill or an exercise that you think, oh, I can quite easily do this, then challenge yourself, maybe use your weaker foot for doing it, or test yourself and say, if I get the ball, can I try and make a pass within 2-3 seconds? But yeah, I'd say little and often, and you can never do too much.
So for you, it's always about improving rather than standing still.
100%, and I think that's the same in any walk of life, whether you're a footballer or whether you're doing a 9 to 5 job. I think it's always thinking, what can you do to make yourself better at what you're doing.
I think Jay Lovett is very, very keen. I'm sure both of them are, but Jay's very keen on the training sessions and getting his team as fit as possible. Do you enjoy that particular aspect, the running, pre-season running? Do you enjoy that, or is it something which you turn away from?
Well, for me, the way I see it is running is a part of football. Just as much as shooting or passing, running's a part of the game that you've got to do. I'm quite grateful that I'm thankfully fit most of the time, so I'll get out running. I do loads of stuff. I'm active all the time, so pre-season for me, it's no real shock. It's a bit it's tough. It's really tough on the body, but again, linking it back to improving yourself, it's just getting yourself ready for what's going to be a tough season. And I think if you can get a good pre-season under your belt, it only puts you in the right direction to have a good start and a good year.
Right. So pre-season for you is quite key, is it? When does that start? Beginning of July?
Yeah, well, I'll start my own bits now. So
really?
as I said before, I had a week off last week. Some nice time with the family, just to go and relax. Had a bit to drink, bit to eat. But now I'm back. I'll be back doing a bit of running here or there. Nothing crazy, just to sort of get me in a routine for when we hit pre-season in a few weeks, that it's no real shock to the body or my routine.
Oh, excellent. Jack, do you have any questions on that scale?
Not so much the sort of pre-season aspect. I think you've covered that really, really well there. There was sort of one subject that I did want to sort of touch on, just thinking about sort of Martyn's career here sort of so far. Now, probably when you think about players who have been at the club for quite a few years now, the names spring to mind are you and Rowie, Reggie as well. You've sort of those three, and probably some more in particular, but especially those three, you've seen us, not be very, very good. You've seen us, survive on the last day. You've seen some odd managerial changes in the club and some swift departures as well. But what, in terms of this season, obviously what a successful season. It was, a tremendous season. What do you think was different this season, apart from obviously a different group, perhaps a little bit of, improvement to the playing staff. But, in terms of the changing room, in terms of the field around the place, what do you think was different this year, perhaps, 2 years ago, last year?
I would probably say this year everything's just felt a lot more settled down. I think previously in the last few years we're worrying about, as players, you're having to worry about things off of the pitch, which to be honest we couldn't control anyway. But the amount of chop and change that was going on, it was so unpredictable. So this year I think it's just been quite nice to have trust in what's been going on around us, and it's allowed us more to focus on what we need to focus on. So yeah, I think the fact it's been a lot more settled down this year. The whole place, everyone sort of now seems to know what direction the club's going in. Previous years, it's been a case of, are we going here, are we going there? I don't think there's been any real confirmation on what's going on. But now, as I said, everyone's a bit more settled down. I think that's what, for me anyway, I thought was quite a big difference for this year.
Absolutely. And just sort of looking at the season, was it a sort of feel in the squad? It's sort of from a fan's point of view, sort of early on in the season, we knew we, built quite a good squad. We were, hopeful of having a really good season, but you never want to, sort of be too, sort of get too carried away with yourself, or, vice versa. But from a playing point of view, perhaps, let's say sort of October, November, December time, was there a specific point perhaps in the season where you felt like we could really do something well this year, or was it just a really sort of build up of the season, just taking it one game at a time? And what was the sort of feel, actually playing during the season?
Yeah, I think it was, for me, I didn't feel a specific moment where I thought, we've got this, we can go and do this. I think, like you've just mentioned, it was like a gradual build of it. We had our hiccups here and there, but if we didn't have that, then we wouldn't have been playing in the league the last few years. So yeah, for me it was a gradual incline, and you never do want to get ahead of yourself, because then you become overconfident and you think it becomes too easy. And also for me this year, it was just enjoying what was going on, enjoying winning games of football again, enjoying the feeling of winning games of football, scoring goals, keeping clean sheets. Everyone around here, the fans, is just the whole energy around the place. For me, it was just enjoying that moment, because, as you've mentioned a minute ago, what we experienced the last few years hasn't been like that. So to be able to have a year where we can enjoy it, was really good.
Absolutely, and just sort of finally from me, obviously we've sort of spoken about the club and what a successful year it's been, but just sort of finishing on sort of you personally, you just mentioned there, it was perhaps a season where you enjoyed it, you got back to just enjoying football, enjoying playing, enjoying winning, just looking at yourself from a personal perspective on your individual performances, how do you sort of assess your season as a whole? Do you think it was a season you were, very good? Obviously I know you had a bit of a struggle with injury sort of midway through the season that was, unfortunate for yourself and kept you out of, periods of time, but just sort of overall, from your point of view, how was your season?
Yeah, from start to finish, I've been quite pleased with myself, to be honest. Pre-season's probably one of the best I've had in terms of the games and the performances. I've probably come out of it and I think I've performed quite well this pre-season. And then start of the year, I felt quite comfortable, felt quite confident, and then obviously in August pick up the injury, which was it was not a nice one, from conversations with the surgeons and stuff, saying that the season's probably done, which was not nice to hear, especially as we were only in August. That hit me quite a lot, but then thanks to the support from everybody, I managed to get myself sorted, get myself fixed, and then beat all the odds to be able to. I think I was training again in the beginning of December, which from where we started to then doing that, I was over the moon with. And then when I come back, it was just trying to get myself back in and up with the team, because they were doing superbly, and I even thought, I might have to go out on loan here to actually try and get some minutes. I don't think I'm going to play, but then the trust in that Gary gave me. It was absolutely superb. Not sure I'll thank them for starting me against Brighton as my first start back in Sussex Senior Cup. That was a nice surprise. Going to have 70 minutes chasing them around. But no, and as soon as I come back and blew the cobwebs away, I thought I was off and away, and I've been looking back on it now, and I took a bit of time to reflect on it. I'd be pleased with how I done this year when I played.
Absolutely. Well, I think the fans will sort of echo that.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, Martyn, I would like to sort of focus on the future. You're still a very, very young man. You're very, very fit, naturally fit, and you obviously keep yourself fit as well. Potentially, you've got quite a few years at this. Obviously, as fans, we want to see you at Burgess Hill Town as the local boy for years to come. But you must have ambitions in this industry to go further up the pyramid. What would you like to do? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, there's nothing exactly I'd like to go and do. I think it's more just if an opportunity pops up, see if it's the right sort of opportunity to go and explore other ventures. I think also for me, the fact I've got quite a lot of good stuff happening with my own personal work away from football, I'm quite settled with that, and I've managed to do a really good start with that. So yeah, I'm not eager. I'm not busting to go and make the climb. But if an opportunity pops up and it was right for me, then why not explore it a little bit more?
For me personally, it seems that just one step up. A lot of clubs in National South are going professional these days. So it seems to me like they must be sending scouts out, and you're the sort of person they're going to be looking at. You hear about people transferring up and then getting these sort of like full professional contracts at national and National South level. I mean, we hope it doesn't happen, but you never know. Someone just could come around the corner and say, Martyn Box, would you like to come and play for us? X amount of money.
No, yeah, you never know. But like I said, you sort of wait and see if an opportunity pops up. And if it's right for me, and not just me, but my family and everyone around me, then I'll explore it. And if it's not, then I'll say thank you, but no thanks.
Okay. So what about your coaching badges? I mean, you're still very young and you probably haven't even thought about this yet, but I'm sure you want to stay in football. If you was to, say, play in 2 or 30, that would give you another 25, 30 years potentially as a coach. Now, I mentioned this to Gary the other day. There's all sorts of opportunities out there for coaches, and you could do that until you're 70 years old if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
Coaching, does that sound good to you?
Yeah, well, it's what I do at the minute as well. I've been doing that for the last good number of years. I used to have a boys team, and I've now got my own girls team with Burgess Hill, which I've been doing for, I think it's 4.5 years now, which seems crazy to think about. And I enjoy the coaching side of it. I enjoy helping others and trying to make them better and sort of teaching them the way I think football should be played. And especially because they're younger, it's quite a good time to shape them into the right model, if you like. And the way football's moving, it is making sure that they're up to scratch with it all. So no, I enjoy the coaching side of it as well, and it's something I'll probably carry on doing alongside playing, and then even after playing, and hopefully one day if I have kids of my own, coach them, and then go from there.
Wow, yeah. I mean, I would love to be sitting in my retirement flat in about 20 years' time, and Martyn Box is out there coaching a Premier League team. It could happen. I mean, football moves very quickly and in mysterious ways.
You never know.
So we'll keep an eye on you. But for now, we want you as a Burgess Hill player.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
appreciate that.
Okay, I think it's time to wrap this up.
Yeah, you're on half an hour, so that's a good place to wrap it up.
Yeah, Martyn, thank you very much for coming in. I think we've covered quite a bit. You've been really brilliant with your answers. So thanks very much for coming in. You want to wrap it up?
Sure. Well, another successful podcast, I think. Obviously, like Cobo said, thank you very much to Martyn for coming on board, answering all of our hard-hitting questions about penalties and future managerial aspirations maybe, and of course to Lyndon to making this all happen, because without him we wouldn't be doing this, and myself and Cobo, and we'll see you on the next podcast.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.